The vast plains of central North America. With trees few and far between, this is a rolling landscape dominated by grasses and herbaceous plants. The word prairie comes from the French, meaning meadow. But despite what the name suggests, this is hardly a tame environment. In this exposed landscape, there is nowhere to hide, and the wildlife is tested by scorching summers and frozen winters. In this episode, we examine bison, red foxes, wild horses, bald eagles, and pronghorns. Across the broad reach of America's Great Plains, there is one iconic animal that conjures both the heroic legends and violent history of the prairie: the bison. The largest land animal in the Americas, the bison is often referred to as buffalo, due to their resemblance to their bovid cousins in Africa and Asia. Feared and celebrated, hunted and worshipped, the American bison is synonymous with its grassland environment. Standing around 6 feet tall at the shoulder and weighing over a ton, the burly bison is equipped to contend with the wolves and bears that share its prairie habitat. With males and females both armed with horns up to 2 feet long, it is rare for a healthy adult to fall victim to predation. For all their size, bison can move with surprising speed, capable of maintaining a lumbering gallop over the wide open expanse of the plains. They can also reach charging speeds of over 60 kilometers an hour, 3 times faster than humans. While often appearing docile, bison have an unpredictably ferocious temperament, and in many parts of modern America, they account for more injuries to humans than bears. Sheltered by the nearly 5,000-kilometer length of the Rocky Mountain Range, the mid-continental location of the American prairie is far from the moderating effects of the ocean and experiences wide fluctuations in temperature, enduring hot, humid summers and cold, frozen winters. The bison stands exposed year-round. The bison's remarkable fur coat is the key adaptation to its survival against the elements of the Great Plains. Ironically, it was the demand for bison coats that almost led to their demise, seeing the species hunted close to extinction in the late 19th century. During the winter months, bison sport a thick mane-like coat which so effectively retains heat against their bodies that snow can settle on their outer hairs without melting. The distinctive hump of the bison is also an adaptation to their grassland habitat. During the harsh prairie winters, bison use their muscular humps to swing their heavy-boned heads back and forth. Acting as snow plows, they clear the way in order to feed on the grasses beneath. Once roaming the huge expanse of the American prairie in their tens of millions, during the 1800s, bisons were tragically overhunted for their meat and hides, taking the species to the brink of extinction. Maintain conservation efforts from environmentalists, ranchers and Native Americans have seen isolated herds of bison make a comeback. While no longer considered endangered, a lack of generic diversity is the legacy of the bison's brush with extinction. Today, efforts are being made to expand conservation herds further into their traditional lands in order to protect the bison into the future. Grasslands are among the world's least protected environments, and the American prairie is no exception. These open plains are not only exposed to the full force of harsh weather conditions, but also to the rapid changes being imposed by an ever-expanding human population. To survive here takes intelligence and resourcefulness. With its legendary reputation for cunning, the red fox is more than up to the task. Although the red fox is the largest of the fox family, it remains a lightly built creature. As such, the fox is vulnerable to other stronger prairie predators, including wolves, coyotes, and eagles. But the fox's light build grants it a nimbleness that it turns to its advantage. Fast and agile, foxes are capable of leaping obstacles over 2 meters in height and are also adept swimmers, employing their versatility both in their own hunts and in escaping other hunters. The fox family unit is an important part of their success in the wild. The responsibility for looking after the young is shared between the parents and the older children, reinforcing social bonds while allowing the parents the time they need to hunt and provide. Red foxes have a keen sense of smell and excellent eyesight, but it is their acute hearing that sets them apart on the prairie. Utilizing their auditory talents in the hunt for even the smallest game, foxes are capable of detecting the rustling of a tiny rodent from 100 meters away. Even when hiding underground, prairie mice are not protected from the ears of foxes. Listening through layers of soil or snow, foxes can determine the location of their unseen prey before launching their distinctive pounce attack. The red fox's characteristic bushy tail is an important adaptation to their open plains habitat. Not only does it assist in balance, it also aids in protecting them against the elements. While foxes inhabit burrows during mating periods, for the most part they sleep in the open. During the harsh winter months on the prairie, temperatures regularly drop below freezing. But by wrapping themselves in their densely furred tails, foxes are able to maintain their body temperature even when sleeping on snow. Primarily feeding on small prairie animals such as rabbits and rodents, when game becomes scarce, foxes can easily switch their carnivorous diet to an omnivorous one, targeting plants, berries, and insects. Foxes are also forward planning, storing food to see them through the lean times. And by managing multiple small cache across their territories, foxes protect themselves against catastrophic losses from raiding animals. Incredibly adaptable creatures, the fox is able to adjust to environmental changes in a way that few other animals can match. On the prairie, there are few images as stirring as a herd of wild horses roaming the rangeland. Considered living symbols of the pioneering spirit of the West, the history of this animal and its connection with the landscape goes back much further. The horse family, Equidae, originally evolved on the plains of North America. However, after the last ice age, the changing climate and the arrival of human hunters resulted in horses dying out on the continent. Fortunately, the horse had spread to Asia, Africa, and Europe, saving the species from extinction. And it was from Europe that horses eventually returned to America, after an absence of many thousands of years. Today, wild horses occupy much of the United States, with the abundant grasses of the prairie making it a preferred rangeland. They are known as mustangs. Opinion is divided as to whether these creatures are true wild horses or feral animals artificially introduced to the environment. While the domestication of horses has altered the species, from a biological standpoint, many scientists view the Mustang as the modern return of an ancient plains animal. Although adult horses have no natural predators across the plains, horses have evolved as prey animals and prefer to live in the safety of herds. Males compete for mating rights with females, and herds tend to consist of a dominant stallion with a harem of mares and their young. Across the open prairie, mustangs are known to look after their injured herd members and are able to live long lives of around 25 years in the wild.